Tony Christie is a spiritual teacher and healer, an inspirational speaker, and messenger of oneness. I love that phrase, a messenger of oneness. He conducts workshops and works with individuals engaging with the labyrinth as a healing and rebalancing tool. He's the author of Labyrinth, Your Path to Self-Discovery. This book shows how the labyrinth is related to all of life, expanding your aura and raising your vibrational level. He's also written the How to Make the Triple Spiral book. My favorite is the Labyrinth Wisdom card deck. I pull one every morning, Tony, and it's amazing to me because Tony also on Facebook, if you friend him, he posts a card every day. There's 48 cards in the deck. And it's truly amazing to me that within 1 or 2 days of the card that I draw, you're posting it. There is definitely magic there. I've had the pleasure of hearing Tony speak and visiting him in Cork, Ireland a few years ago. We're all in for a delightful and inspiring evening. Tony, thank you for being up in the middle of the night and joining us here to share the joy of the labyrinth. Welcome.
Thank you, Sandra. I must say this is a first for me because this is the first time I've ever given a labyrinth presentation at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's funny the way songs move around in your head. You know, this song, it's 3 in the morning or 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I think shortly the dawning here will be waking the labyrinth in me and in all of us. So good evening to everyone in Oregon. Good morning to anyone on this side of the world, and good day to everyone in Australia. It really is a privilege for me to be here, and it's a privilege for me to be working with the labyrinth. I am going to go straight into the presentation and start taking us from there. So I just take a moment to share my screen. Okay, so people should be able to see that. This evening is about the joy of the labyrinth. I think every moment and every day is about the joy of the labyrinth. But for me, more and more, I realize how much the labyrinth is bringing me joy. It is bringing me joy in many, many different ways. Okay, sorry, I was just trying to move on to the next slide. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah, okay, we're in action. I came across the labyrinth over about 17 years ago now, I think, almost to the day. My wife Fanula had a deck of angel cards, and as one does, she asked me would I like to pick a card. And this is the card that I chose. And it was called Melchizedek's Labyrinth. And I don't remember having seen or come across labyrinths before. And I can't say there was flashing lights or a great moment of illumination or anything. But it did spark something in me. And I was reading a book at the time by a healer, an English healer called Jack Temple. And he had a labyrinth in the grounds of his healing center. And I was not aware of labyrinths or being able to walk them either. So putting 1 and 1 together and getting 11, I jumped onto Amazon and bought a load of labyrinth books because there was something about this and I couldn't, I think I can't fully explain, and I still can't fully explain what the whole draw of the labyrinth is. And I know people who are interested and who work with the labyrinth and build them and make them and use them. There's just something about the labyrinth that it's a little bit, it's not fully possible to decide or to be definite about exactly what it is. There's a draw and a magic and something wonderful and amazing about labyrinths for people who are working with them regularly and people even who are introduced to them the first time. So that was the start of my labyrinth library. I was looking for a book earlier on, well, yesterday now, with Fionnuala, and suddenly realized I have the whole one whole shelf of the bookcases labyrinth books. So, hey. And in one of the books, it showed you how to make a labyrinth. So this was my first attempt at a labyrinth in my back garden, and it's made from bags of out-of-date flour and anything else I could lay my hands on, wheat germ and things things you have in the back of the cupboard that you suddenly realize are 2 and 3 years out of date. And so that was the very first labyrinth I made in my back garden. From there, I have gone on to I came across in one of the books or in an article online, I think it was, where there are 9 turning points in the labyrinth. And for some reason, these jumped out at me, and even some labyrinth people were not aware of these when I was talking to them. But I actually placed stones. You can see them on the labyrinth. There's 9 stones marking those 9 points. A very interesting story, actually. I'm going to tell a few stories as well, if that's okay, as we go along. When there was piles of stone around the garden. I was doing some building work, and I was tuning into the stones to see if they wanted to be in the labyrinth. And my son, who was 7, I think at the time, 7 or 8, he says, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I said, I'm asking the stones if they want to be in the labyrinth. And he looked at me as if I had 2 heads, and I thought, thinking, oh, my dad has lost it now. And he says, but how? He did ask me, how do you do it? And I says, just pick up the stone and you ask it in your mind. And if it wants to be in the labyrinth, you'll hear yes. And if it doesn't, you'll hear no. And I'd forgot about it. And about 3 minutes later, I heard a shout from the end of the garden saying, "Dad, it said yes." So I says, put it in the labyrinth. So this was our first labyrinth. I started exploring labyrinths and looking for them. This is one of Ireland's most ancient labyrinths. It's probably 1,500 years old now. It's on a rock carving that was found near Hollywood in County Wicklow in Ireland. It was on one of the ancient pilgrimage routes to the monastery of St. Kevin at Glendalough. So it's now in the visitor centre in Glendalough. If anyone has ever, hopefully some of you will get to Ireland shortly. So it's certainly worth going. There's an energy about this stone in itself. This is it again, just to give you an idea of the size. So a closer up one. I traveled all over the world. Anywhere I go, I look for labyrinths. This is one of the times I was in Arizona, and this is from the Tohono Dam reservation, where they weave the labyrinth, the classical labyrinth, into baskets and use it actually even as the logo of their reservation. And this is I think one of the cars, the official cars in the reservation. So it's called the Man in the Maze. Of course, I got to Chartres. Hopefully all of you have or will get there at some stage. Back now in 2005, so what's that, 16 years ago. I went there to do my Veritas facilitator training. I started building labyrinths, many different places and many different types. I've mown them in the grass. I've painted them on paving for people. I've made temporary labyrinths just by spraying them on the ground. There's one there in the bottom right, if you see it, where it's actually made of flour and flowers. It was for people doing a hand fasting ceremony, where when you're into labyrinths, you just get asked to present them in many different places and locations. And this is your quintessential Irish labyrinth. It's a labyrinth made from potatoes. So there's a bit of a story attached to this. When I was in Chartres in 2005 and I did my facilitator training, I was wondering and even raised the issue of how I was going to introduce labyrinths to the people of Cork. I didn't know, I knew very little about them myself and didn't know that anyone else in Cork knew anything about them. There was no public labyrinth there. There were no labyrinth in the churches there or public parks there. So this was in October. And shortly after coming back to Cork, maybe a week or two later, I walked into a shop and I picked up a leaflet, and Cork at the time was the European capital of culture, which moves around the whole of Europe, but it happened to be Cork that year. And the organizers had organized an event to culminate the whole Cork as the capital of culture for that year in 2005. And the event was called Pathways of Light. And it was inviting people and groups all over the city to create labyrinths in public spaces. So, and the end of the year in 2005, there must have been about 20 different labyrinths all over the city of Cork. And there was I wondering, well, it reminded me, Lauren Archer said, when you're working with the labyrinth, the wind is on your back. And that's really how it felt, that everything was coming into alignment. And I found that many different times with the labyrinth, that as I'm working with it and what I'm doing, it seems that the universe and spirit are aligning with me and what I'm doing, or I'm aligning with them, I'm not sure. There was even a labyrinth hanging off the front of City Hall in Cork, so that'll tell you a big, large labyrinth. So I have made many portable labyrinths. I have 3, 4 now, I think, and again, use them different places and different occasions when I'm called to do that. I found myself designing labyrinths. Sometimes I did work in the public service for years, and occasionally I'd be attending a meeting that was, well, I found a little bit boring, so I'd start doodling, and some of these doodles merged into labyrinths. So this is a triple spiral labyrinth. You can see some people are very much drawn to that because it has Irish connections as well from Newgrange, and some people like to build it in their garden. This other one is just another one that that came to me, I think, is the best way I would put it. And Sandra mentioned the Labyrinth wisdom cards. Shortly, I suppose, as I was working with the labyrinth and using it myself for my own development and my own insights, I was getting a lot of information and insights into the labyrinth. It's like answers were coming to me, answers to life questions. And it didn't, I don't even know how the idea of the labyrinth cards came about, but I just felt that if people didn't have a labyrinth, they could have a deck of cards in their pocket and carry it with them. And each card is a type of labyrinth or an aspect or a particular point on one of the many different labyrinths that are there. And I chose, people can choose one just as a thought for the day, or if you're looking for an answer or an insight into some issue in your life, if you choose consciously, there will be a meaning there for you. And up to 2 years, nearly 3 years ago now, finally my book on labyrinths came out, Your Path to Self-Discovery. And seeing as this is the joy of the labyrinth, this is the most joyful event I have ever had on the labyrinth when I got married 6 years ago now. And I did talk about carrying a labyrinth with you, and there are many different pocket-sized labyrinths you can carry, but I carry one with me always on my wedding ring. So Fionnuala and I walked in together to the center of the labyrinth, took our vows at the center, and walked out. I mentioned that I worked for 3 years in the public service in different organizations, and I left that over 5 years ago. I could do the job, but I think it came to the stage where the job wasn't doing it for me, and I had to take a large step in life to step away from what was a very safe and secure employment and step into my spiritual path. And just a couple of weeks after that, I was meditating one morning, and it was like I was just shown how I can use the labyrinth on one-to-one healing sessions with people. And this was, again, over 5 years ago. And it's only many people over those years I have given this healing therapy to them. And they've been asking me, can you teach me how to do this? And it's only in the last month or two, really, that I have put it out there. It just seems now that the time is right. So I'm sharing this way of healing now with people, using the labyrinth. This is the labyrinth at the Trinity Episcopal Cathedral. It's a beautiful, beautiful labyrinth. And for people, some people may own, this may be the only type of labyrinth they're familiar with. It's a replica from Chartres Cathedral. So just to show you the connection between the very ancient classical labyrinth found on rock carvings in several parts of the world, of Spain, Italy, and India, and how this evolved from it. I'm just going to, in a short minute or so, show you how it evolved in maybe 3 or 4 or 5 steps. So this is your classical labyrinth, sometimes called the Creation Labyrinth. I've heard it called the Celtic Labyrinth. I met it as Melchizedek's Labyrinth. You can put this in a circular. It's more a little bit flatter. It's not circular. If you put it in a circular form, you'll get something like this. And if you put turns into it, you will get turns like that. Very easily, again, when you see the evolution, classical, circular, classical, it becomes a 7-circuit medieval. And then it's quite easy, if you know how to draw this, to create an 11-circuit classical labyrinth. You get an 11-circuit circular classical labyrinth, a medieval labyrinth, and here you are with your Chartres labyrinth. So for me, people, I have been asked which is my favorite labyrinth, and I just say they all are. And I look at the similarities rather than the differences. You're one path from the outside to the center. You have a weaving, winding path, and that they have an energy about them that is healing and that is welcoming and that is embracing, and a beautiful spiritual tool to work with. Many of you will be aware of the benefits of the labyrinth, but I just threw these in here. The labyrinth helps quieten the mind. There's something about walking the labyrinth or tracing with your finger. It brings a feeling of being more centered and balanced. It raises the vibration. Energetically, it raises your vibration, expands your aura, clears and expands your aura. And it does this whether you are aware or not, even that you're walking a labyrinth, or whether you're conscious that this is what it does. And it's one of the few archetypal symbols that you can interact with. You can walk the labyrinth, and you can trace your finger with it. So we will shortly be doing a finger labyrinth walk. And for me, it ties everything together. And it sometimes can take a little bit of time for you to become aware of this, but for me, it's a symbol of the interconnectedness of all of existence. There are so many similarities between the path and between the labyrinth and many other spiritual paths. So we're going to do a finger labyrinth walk. This on an individual level helps rebalance your energy, but also on a group level. And it integrates the group, so it brings us all together more into a space of oneness. And I found it doesn't matter where in the world we are. It doesn't matter that I'm in Ireland and many of you are in the United States and we have people from Australia. It doesn't matter. But also what a finger labyrinth does, when you do it consciously and with awareness, it fine-tunes your awareness. So if people are ready, people have a finger labyrinth with them, what I have found is that if you walk in the labyrinth with awareness, you will oftentimes get different feelings at different points of the labyrinth. Sometimes you will get a sense that I should pause here for a few moments. Even sometimes I'm walking the labyrinth and I find I've passed a particular point and something happened there. There's a very subtle shift in energy, and I will actually walk back 1 or 2 steps just to stand at that point for a few moments. So if you have your finger labyrinth at the ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this divining rod, and we won't start yet. I'd wait till I say when to start. And when we will be stopping a number of different times on the finger labyrinth walk as we're going into the center and coming back out. And this divining rod will move. It'll move sideways, or it'll start spinning around, or it will. And once the rod moves, I will instruct everybody to stop. So we will be doing a group labyrinth walk in unison. We will be all on different points, more likely, but that's part of the beauty of it, that we're all in different parts and different places in our life, but yet we're all together at the same time. So if you have your finger labyrinth ready, one with a groove, one of the paper ones that were sent out, if you don't have a labyrinth, I would say find something, a hard surface, a table in front of you, and do with your eyes closed, just very consciously, with your eyes closed, move your finger in whatever direction it goes around the table, or if you have a large book or something like that. The other thing is, it was the Melchizedek's labyrinth that I asked would be shared, and that was mainly because we have a limited amount of time here, and the sharks type labyrinth, the exercise could take too long. That's the only practical reason. I have done this with the shark type labyrinth also. So if you find you're at the center and I'm still talking and there are still people stopping on the way, just keep your finger at the center. I can't see everybody, so I'm just going to tune in intuitively, or somebody gives me the thumbs up, or I can't see everybody to give me the thumbs up. We'll know when everybody's at the center. There's a feeling there. Okay, so if you place your finger at the entrance to the labyrinth, and I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. On your marks. 3, 2, 1. Just start. Oh, just as regards the pace, this isn't a race to get to the center. So how fast did you move your finger? Just about that pace. It's not that you're going as fast as you can, or you're not going so slowly, inch by inch by inch. You're just moving. And if you feel your finger against the labyrinth, it is also a lesson in heightening your awareness. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Start moving your finger and just stop. Everybody stop there. Every time I do this, with individuals or with groups, just as someone or everybody enters the labyrinth, there's a stop, because this is equivalent to entering yourself, to stepping into your own power. I just feel what's happening with your finger, with your body. If you're using the classical labyrinth, and sometimes the circuits are associated with your chakras, this is your solar plexus, or your center of power. And this rod will keep moving while there is a rebalancing needed with us individually and collectively. There we go. And the rod pauses. It hasn't stopped. It needs to stop in a straight line pointing directly in front. Yeah. There we go. Okay, now start moving your finger again. And now move it with awareness. So feel your way around the labyrinth, and don't necessarily wait for me to tell you to stop. If you feel there's a place you need to stop, all right, everybody, stop there. Stop where you are, tracing your finger on the labyrinth. So there's something happening here for one or more than one of us. Allow yourself to slow down. Allow your breathing to slow. Settle into the seat you're sitting in. Okay, when you're ready, start moving your finger again. Yeah. Move your finger slowly, steadily, and with awareness. stop there. Just stop wherever you are on the labyrinth. Just pause there now. Pause to be with yourself. Pause. You may have a feeling in a certain part of your body. You may have a certain thought that's in your mind. Just be with whatever thought that's there, whatever feeling is there. There is a release happening for some people. If you feel like you need to let out a sigh, just let it out. Gentle sigh. Release whatever tensions are in your body as you breathe out. Okay, we're good to go again. Now don't rush this. Decide you're going to move on. And now move on with awareness. So as you move your finger around the labyrinth with awareness, your awareness, this is learning to be more aware with everything you do in life. Walking to the shops, the work that you do. Stop. So pause. Sorry, I don't wish to be too abrupt. And when I do this in a group, I can usually see everybody. So everybody should be stopped at whatever point you are in the labyrinth. And every point has a meaning and every point has a significance. Sometimes you can become aware of the significance very quickly, and other times it can be later, longer, or maybe it doesn't present itself at all at this point in time. Okay, the rod has stopped moving. So start moving your finger again around the labyrinth. So the labyrinth is a symbol of you and a symbol of your journey in life. So what you're doing is you are tracing aspects of your life. Stop, pause there, stop there now, wherever you are. There can be any number of stops or pauses on the labyrinth, on the way in and on the way back out. So there's no kind of one right number. It can be 10, 20, 30 times. Every labyrinth walk is different. Every finger labyrinth walk is different. Every group labyrinth walk is different. So again, just allow your energy to settle wherever you are. Just become as relaxed as you can. The more relaxed you are physically and the more relaxed your mind is, the more open and aware you are to receiving insights and guidance. A lot happening at this point, so take heed of where you are. And I don't know if anybody is at the center. I can't see, but maybe just chuck something up in chat or something if you are. And I think Patricia is the only person I can see, so I'm going to take my guide from Patricia. Yeah. So if you're not at the center, after this stop, we just get you to make your way to the center. Just hold where you are at the moment. There's a lot of energy shifting here. People ask how long do you stop at any one point? There is no. It's a bit like the list with the labyrinth. There is no definitive time. Can be a few seconds. It can be a few minutes. I don't wish to alarm you. My wife Fanula was doing this with herself a few days ago, and she said I was stopped for 10 minutes at one point. That generally doesn't happen at occasions like this, but keep your finger there because there are things happening. And bring your attention to your heart. I can feel a lot of heart energy, and not only your own heart, but the hearts of everybody in this group, because we are all connected. And the labyrinth is connecting us more, connecting us as a symbol of oneness. Okay. If everybody isn't at the center, just going to take another maybe just a minute or so to allow everybody to move their finger to the center of the labyrinth. Sorry, you may see me jumping a little bit. That's just the energy that I'm picking up on. So I think it's the labyrinth spirit guides making sure I stay awake. They give me a blast of energy. Okay, just pause there. Everybody place your finger at the center. Beautiful. Keep your finger at the center. Center of the labyrinth is the center of oneness, center of love, the heart of oneness. Feel your connectedness through your heart to the people you know in the group, and particularly to people you don't know, or that you think you don't know. There we go. Beautiful. Now you're at the center of the labyrinth, you're at the center of yourself. What is at your center? Bring your awareness to the center of you, which is the center, your heart center. Feel your awareness in your heart center, the center of your chest. Feel the aliveness that's there. Feel the joy that's there. Feel the happiness. Let a smile break out on your face if that's what's happening. The joy is everywhere. It's there for you too. If you can find it, if you can see it, if you can feel it. Wonderful. We're going to slowly make our way back out from the center in a few moments, not yet. Coming back out from the center of the labyrinth, I always see as symbolic of coming back out into the world, into our everyday lives, renewed in some way, more energized, maybe with new insights, slightly changed somehow, having taken another step on our life's journey, on our soul's journey. So when we're ready, everybody, slowly start tracing your finger back out from the center of the labyrinth. And I will tell you when to stop. If you feel like stopping before I say so, just stop and pause wherever you feel is right for you. Pause, stop there, please. Feel your finger on the labyrinth, feel the finger on the paper, feel the finger on the table. This is a very, very gentle shifting of energy. So become aware of your subtle energy. The labyrinth, when you work with it, can be very powerful at times, and it can also be very, very gentle. And even the rod is picking up here as it moves, just a very, very gentle realigning and aligning and shifting of your energy. You may feel a sensation in your legs as you become more grounded. You may feel a sensation in your head as you become more connected to the divine. And you feel a sensation of straightening up and becoming aligned with yourself and with everything. There we go. Okay, when you're ready, start moving your finger again, tracing the way back out of the labyrinth. And pause and stop there where you are, wherever that is. Where are you? It reminds me several years ago when I brought out the labyrinth cards, yeah, keep your finger wherever you are in the labyrinth. I'll tell you a story. One evening I published them myself, so I was promoting them myself. I didn't have a publicist or someone who promote the cards. And one evening I got on the internet and I emailed every mind, body, spirit type magazine I could find in the world. And 50 or 60 emails asking them if they'd like a sample deck to review or if they'd like me to write an article. I got 2 replies from my 60 emails. One was from a magazine in Australia wanting me to spend $100 to take out an ad. And the other was from California, from an organization called Bridging Heaven and Earth, who have a cable TV show called Bridging Heaven and Earth, inviting me to be on the show. And I didn't even know I had emailed a TV show. So a few months later, I was in Santa Barbara recording this TV show. I think it's still available maybe on YouTube. And I was talking about the labyrinth. I did a number of paintings for the labyrinth, of the labyrinth, showing the labyrinth as a bridge between heaven and earth. And I was coming towards the end of the show. It was an hour-long show, and it was all on me, and I didn't realize that until about a week beforehand. And I was saying, "Whoops, I hope I'm able for this." But as it turned out, the interview went very well, the show. And just towards the very end of it, I was in my mind, I was running out saying, "What am I going to say next?" I felt I had nothing more to say. And then the host who was interviewing me said, we're just coming to a close now. So it was like everything was in alignment. And then this thought came into my head that those of you who have children or were children are traveling to places, and the question that parents love to hear, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And that came into my head. And as I said, I spoke out loud. And that's not really the question. It's not, are you there yet? Are we there yet? It's, are you here now? There is no there, there's just here, and there's just now. And we're all here now together as one. Oh, I just realized the rod kept moving all the time I was talking, and now it stopped. So there it means you can, if you're not out of the labyrinth, you can start moving your finger again towards the exit. Are you ready to be here now? Keep your finger, if you are at the exit, keep your finger there just before the exit. We're all going to exit together. If you're already way ahead of us, just put your finger back just inside the entrance. Beautiful, just pause there. Just a little bit of fine tuning needed here. Okay, good. If you're still in the labyrinth, start moving your finger again to the outside. There's no rush. In fact, I remember good few years ago now, maybe 10 years ago, my life got very, very busy. And I just was a bit stressed and didn't have time to do all the things I wanted to do. And I was speaking to a spiritual teacher. And I asked, things are so busy, what should I do? And she said, slow down. It's like that, there's some guru once said, if you should meditate for 1 hour every day. And if you're really, really busy, you should meditate for 2 hours. And I found then that the more I slowed down, the more time I had. So this is about slowing down. It's not about getting anywhere, it's about being here where you are. Wherever you are in the labyrinth. I'm looking to Patricia for a nod. Are we nearly out, Patricia? Yeah. Lovely. Okay, everybody just keep your finger, just once we're going to exit together, just put your finger, if you are out, just put your finger back inside the entrance to the labyrinth. I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and we just all move our finger out together. 3, 2, 1. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. I just like to see people's faces. Is that possible? Yeah, just take me off full screen mode. Can we do that for a minute? Just let see how I can see a few smiles anyway. Let's go.
You can hit on your view.
Oh, can I hear up here at the top? Oh yeah, view gallery view. Is it? Is that it? Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
can
lovely.
hit gallery view and see everybody.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. I could feel that. I could feel that here. I could feel you all here, and my heart is is way out there somewhere. It's probably halfway around the world, both ways. Yeah.
And everybody can put themselves on gallery view and see everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. This isn't the best thing for a presenter to be saying, but there are times, almost every time I give a labyrinth workshop, that there's some wise person once said, don't speak unless you can improve on the silence. And that feels like one of these moments, that I could just sit here with you, and just be with you. We're human beings, not human doings. However, as the man in charge, apparently, whoever decided to do that, yeah. Oh, there's another song coming into my head. A number of years ago, I was invited to the Netherlands. Actually, a lady in the Netherlands who had seen me on that Bridging Heaven and Earth TV show, and she said I got to get this guy over there. So she invited me to give a workshop in the Netherlands, and she said, these are all experienced labyrinth people, so I want you to go deep with them. And I was thinking, okay, no harm in increasing the pressure a little bit. So I got up quite early, maybe 7 o'clock, not as early as today, 7 o'clock. And I said, I'd walk the labyrinth and look for insights. This is what many of us do when people walk in the labyrinth. Just give me some guidance. Is there something more I am to do with this group, or something new that I'm to do with them? And I was walking the labyrinth, and there was this song stuck in my head. And the way a song gets stuck in your head and you just can't get it out. It goes over and over and over again. It's the only thing, no matter what you're trying to think on or concentrate on or focus on. And I had walked 2 or 3 circuits of the labyrinth, and I was starting to get a slight little bit vexed, which is strange in the labyrinth with this song. I said, would you ever get out of my head? I'm trying to get some insights here and a bit of guidance, I don't want this song stuck in my head. And I took a few more steps and I stopped. I listened. I just listened, paused, something sort of like a flash of inspiration. The song was sung by Bob Marley called "Don't Worry About a Thing, because every little thing is going to be all right." I said, there was my answer. It's like sometimes our minds are so busy, we don't see the obvious. We don't see the messages that we're receiving, and we receive them all the time. All the time, if we're aware enough to see that. You're always receiving guidance. You're always receiving insights if you're aware enough. And the greatest tool that I have found for heightening my awareness and quietening my mind is the labyrinth. It's the labyrinth. It's why I'm here 17 years later talking to you, and I hope I'll be back here in another 17 years' time. So I'm going to go back to see what I don't even know what's in the presentation now. Let's see. We'll go back to the presentation. We'll take another few steps and see where we end up. Okay, lovely. The joy of the labyrinth. Where is your joy? Because the labyrinth is a symbol of you, and it's a symbol of your journey in life. So somewhere in the labyrinth and somewhere in you is the joy. Somewhere. Here we are. You are a labyrinth. The labyrinth is you. The more I work with the labyrinth, the more I see different parts of the labyrinth reflecting different parts of my life. And I keep seeing more and finding more connections with the labyrinth, different types of labyrinth, different parts of the labyrinth, and the meaning that they have for me and for everybody. For example, the classical labyrinth has, for many, many years, been associated with your 7 chakras or energy centers. The most ancient labyrinths have 4 quadrants in them. I see these as representing the 4 elements and the qualities that those 4 elements carry. The earth, the air, fire, and water. When you move through the labyrinth, you pass through these elements, these qualities, in different ways, in different timings. It's not like you go from one quadrant to another, unless you're using a Roman labyrinth, but we're not. So the 4 elements. And when you pass through them, you rotate them, you come in contact with the 5th element, the quintessence, spirit, God, whatever name you wish to put on it, the joy. It's there. The labyrinth brings you in touch with the joy that you are, the joy that is in you. So does the world affect your joy? Do you let what's happening in the outside world affect what's happening inside you? When I worked in that office for many years, I had several different quotations pinned up over my desk to inspire me or to uplift me. Here's one that I had from Krishnamurti, which said, "What you are, the world is. And without your transformation, there can be no transformation of the world." So what's happening in the world is just a reflection of what's happening here in me. And if I want to change the world, I first start changing myself. Was it Gandhi who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world"? Do you see the world from a place of fear? The Minotaur in the labyrinth in the ancient Greek myth was often seen as a fearful presence that ate human flesh. Or do you see it from a place of love? Love and joy. The help that is there, Ariadne to help Theseus. And there are only 2 ways of being in the world, in fear or in joy, in fear or in love. So you have a choice. Which one do you choose? And you choose, if you're choosing love, and I'm assuming that's what you're choosing, if you're choosing love and the joy of life, the way to switch from fear is to start appreciating something that you have, or all the things that you have. So many mornings I wake up in the morning before getting out of bed. I appreciate that I have a nice comfortable bed to sleep in. I look up at the ceiling. I appreciate I have a roof over my head. I appreciate that I have someone in the bed beside me who loves me. I appreciate I have fingers. I appreciate I can see. There are so many things that we have to appreciate that we take for granted. But when you start reciting what you appreciate, you bring yourself into a space of love. When you're in appreciation, you cannot be in fear. The energy of the labyrinth is energy of love. The lovely quote, to love is to approach each other center to center. We found at the center of the labyrinth moments of peace, moments of love, moments of joy during that last finger labyrinth walk. I remember, even though we're all scattered in many parts of the world or the United States, we were one, we were together in that finger labyrinth walk. So we're going to tap into that energy. We're going to do shortly a meditation based on the labyrinth. And just to give you a little bit of insights into Melchizedek's labyrinth, because that's the first labyrinth I met, and it still resonates with me, and the whole energy of Melchizedek seems to align with me at times. This is an image of Melchizedek from the North Porch in Chartres Cathedral. There's a 6, I think it's called the Wall of the Prophets. So that's Abraham beside him. I give Moses, David, I'm not sure the other ones. This is him close up holding a cup. And Melchizedek is often shown holding a cup or bread and wine. And the whole symbolism of bread and wine is very significant. But for me, there's something in the cup that is not bread. It's the stone of consciousness of humanity that Melchizedek holds, overseeing how we individually and collectively are moving forward as a human race, the consciousness of humanity, and that comes through even in the labyrinth. I was looking for an image of Melchizedek, and I came across this on the internet, this one, and it took me many years to find out actually who had drawn it. It's by a Danish artist, and this is the energy of love that's coming through the eyes in this image. And in the Nag Hammadi Gospels, in one part of those, it is said that all the tribes of the earth will learn the truth from you, Melchizedek, great high priest, teacher of Abraham the prophet, about his promise for a perfect, fulfilled life. That is what we are moving towards, a perfect, fulfilled life, the joy of life, the joy of love, the joy of the labyrinth. That is what the labyrinth is bringing us towards. The twists and turns, yeah, there's ups and downs in life. There are turns back and forth, but we are moving towards something. And it's not even moving towards, it's there if we pause and stay quiet enough to hold it and to grasp it. So I must pay tribute to Richard Feather Anderson, who is here with us, because in Drunvalo Melchizedek's book, The Flower of Life, he speaks of Richard and how the order in which you walk through the circuits of the Melchizedek's labyrinth, if you put lines, you start at the third, you come out to the second, you go to the first, then you go to the fourth, and then the seventh, sixth, and fifth. And if you draw lines with them, those lines create the form of a cup or chalice. And not only that, when you move through your own energy body, your own energy centers, your chakras, you start at your solar plexus, you go down, that's your third one in your stomach, you go down to lower abdomen, your second to your root chakra, and ground yourself. You go down and you create a base of the cup or chalice. You do that with your own energy body. And you go from there to your heart, which sits on this base and the foundation that you've placed. And the heart is the connection between earth and heaven. And you go from the heart, the fourth circuit of the labyrinth, to the top. Your connection, connect with the divine, with spirit, with the universe. 7, 6 is your third eye, 5 is your throat. And the center for me is the heart of oneness, the heart of love. They're the 7, the order in which you go through them in the labyrinth. 3, 2, 1, 4, 7, 6, 5. The first card that I saw was from a deck of angel cards by Angela McGurr. And she wrote about this labyrinth. Of course, I can't see now. I just need to... I'd love to read this, but I can't see it. The Chalice of the Heart is held by... It, contains a special key. The key is the center of Melchizedek's 7-circuit labyrinth. This is where we open our higher heart, our spiritual self. And we open the floor, that's when the higher heart, we can return to oneness with all. Now, I've never met Angela McGurr, but I've spoken to her several times and have had video calls with her. She says that when you walk this labyrinth, you create what she calls your angelic light body. So you're not only aligning your whole energy centers in your body, but your whole aura is being uplifted into what she calls your angelic light body. So we're going to do a short meditation. Well, a meditation. I don't know how short or long. It's going to be 10 or 15 minutes, let's say, just. And you're going to have I'm going to ask you to have your eyes closed, but I'm going to guide you through your energy centers in the meditation. Connect with the earth, come to our heart, connect with God or spirit, and come back to the heart where we become at one with everybody in the group. So I know somebody has a little bit of music in the background, and I'm going to...
Tony, I need you to stop sharing your screen, or I'm going to stop sharing your screen.
Oh yeah, hold on. Where do I do that? Stop
I did
share.
it. Okay, if you stop sharing your screen.
All right, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
This is thirsty work, lads. Okay. Okay, make yourself comfortable. If you can, 2 feet flat on the floor. If you're sitting cross-legged, that's fine too. Put your hands somewhere comfortable on your hips or in your lap or wherever. And close your eyes. Yeah. Just allow yourself to settle again into the seat, into where you're sitting. Take a long, slow breath and just exhale. Let everything, all the tensions go from your body. Okay, bring your attention to your solar plexus, which is in your stomach area. It's in the center of your body. This is often associated with the color yellow, so see a ball of bright yellow light at the center of your body. See that ball of bright yellow light getting brighter and stronger and clearer. Just maybe if we just turn the music down a tiny little bit, whoever is doing that, and we'll So at the center of this ball of bright yellow light is a spark of brilliant white light. This is your center of power. You are a powerful person. Feel the power that is within you. Feel the power that's within you. You have all the power you need to do what it is you came here to do at this time. And knowing that you have all this power within you that you can draw on whenever you need, Slowly bring your attention down to your second chakra in your lower abdomen in the center of your body. This is your center of creativity. It's associated with the color orange, the second circuit of the classical labyrinth. I see a ball of bright orange light in this part of your body. It's your center of creativity, your center of sexuality. You have all the creativity you need within you. See this ball of bright orange light getting brighter and clearer and stronger. Feel it expanding in you. In the center of this ball of orange light is a spark of brilliant white light. You have all the creativity you need to do what it is you came here to do and to be. And your power center and your center of creativity are now connected, so you can be powerful in what you create and creative in how you use your power. And knowing that this well of creativity is always there with you to draw on. Bring your attention down to your first chakra, to your root chakra at the base of your spine. It's associated with the color red, so see a ball of bright red light at the base of your spine. See this ball of bright red light getting brighter and clearer and stronger. And at the center of this ball of bright red light is a spark of brilliant white light. This is your center of connectedness to the earth. From your center of connectedness, feel the energy moving down through the seat you're sitting on, down through the seat, down through the floor, deep into the earth. Feel your energy coming from your solar plexus, your third chakra, down to your second, down to the first, down deep into the earth and going deeper and deeper and deeper into the earth. Right down like a root growing down, anchoring you. Going right down until you touch the center of the earth. There's a beautiful pearlescent sphere at the center of the earth. Connect with that. Feel your connection deep into Mother Earth. Feel yourself as part of the earth. And also from the soles of your feet, feel the energy moving down like roots growing from the soles of your feet deep again into the earth. Deeper and deeper and deeper. Anchoring you, grounding you, connecting you to the pearlescent sphere at the center of the earth. You have now created the base of the chalice of who you are. You have created this solid foundation connecting you to the earth. You are here. You are stating clearly, I am here. And leaving this solid foundation in place, it's so solid that if somebody tried to push you over, you wouldn't fall. You might sway in a strong breeze, but you are so solidly connected to the earth. You are here to do what you came here to do. And now bring your attention to your heart center at the center of your chest. This is the center of love. It's associated with the color green. So see a ball of bright green light at the center of your chest. See this ball of bright green light getting brighter and clearer and stronger. Feel it expanding in your chest. And at the center of this ball of bright green light, see a spark of brilliant white light. This is your center of love. It is from here you give love, and it is to here you receive love. Allow yourself to receive love. Allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive all the love that there is. Allow yourself to be enveloped in love, to be wrapped in love. Feel the peace and the joy and the embrace of the love that is all around you. And knowing that that fountain of love is always there within you, slowly now bring your attention to the top of your head, to your crown chakra. Associated with the color purple, see a ball of bright purple light on the top of your head. See this ball of bright purple light getting brighter and clearer, stronger. And at the center is a spark of brilliant white light. This is your connection to the divine, to God, to spirit, to the universe. Feel your connection and see a thread of brilliant white light from the top of your head going up into the heavens. And feel the light and love pouring from the heavens down into you. Like a huge column, a shaft and column of light pouring in the top of your head. And allow that light to come into your head and to fill your head. Flood your head with this liquid, beautiful, liquid, loving light. And allow it to flow down to your sixth chakra, your third eye in the middle of your forehead, in the middle of your head. Your center of intuition. It's your center of knowing. Associated with the color deep blue, indigo blue, and see a ball of deep blue light in the center of your head. And see it getting brighter and clearer and stronger. And at the center of this ball of deep indigo blue light is a spark of brilliant white light. This is the center of your knowing. You always know the right thing to do. And this spark of brilliant white light is now connected with the light coming from above. Spiritual heavenly light pouring into you, and bring that down now to your throat chakra. Associated with a light, bright blue color. See this ball of bright light blue at the center of your throat. See it getting brighter and clearer and stronger. At the center of this ball of light blue light is a spark of brilliant white light. This is your center of communication, your center of speech. It is from here you speak your truth. It is the last center that you pass through, because you can only speak your truth when everything else is in alignment. When you're speaking from a place of power, using your creativity, grounded from a place of love, with a divine connection, and using your intuition. And that divine light is still pouring in the top of your head, down through your third eye, down to your throat, And feel that light pouring into you like a waterfall of loving light coming down now to your heart. Pouring into your heart center. This time it's the heart of oneness, the heart of God, the heart of love. And there's so much light pouring into you, it starts to expand within your chest. So much light pouring into you, it starts to expand outside of you, in front of you, to the sides, to the back. It starts to expand so that this loving light is pouring into you, coming from your heart, and it's now touching the hearts of everyone in this group. Feel your love flowing to them and feel the love coming from them flowing to you. Feel yourself immersed in this circle of love. So that there is no you anymore, there is just one, and we are all the one. And now go deep into the center of that oneness that is within you and that is within everything. It is everywhere. Deeper and deeper into that oneness. At the very, very center of that oneness, there is a spark. See that spark, feel that spark. The spark of joy. This is your true essence. This is who you truly are. This is who we all are. Joyful human beings. Now allow that spark of joy to grow within your heart, within our heart. Grow to expand outwards. Filling your physical body, filling your energy body, filling the whole room you're in, filling the whole house you're in. And let it go further, filling the whole country that you're in. Let it expand out so it encircles the whole world. Blanketing the earth in a blanket of loving light, loving joy. And you have so much joy in you, there's an endless supply. It's pouring in the top of your head. Let it go further out to the universe, out to the solar system, out to the Milky Way galaxy and beyond, out to space and further and further and further. You don't have to do anything. Just relax and let it flow. The flow of love further and further into the deepest, darkest parts of space. Feel yourself, feel that spaciousness that you are. And somewhere in the very, very far distance of space, if it had a horizon, you can see a ring of light all around you. And you go to that light in all directions. And as you move towards it and expand and allow your light to expand, you merge with the light that is in the ends of space. And you realize that this light that you're merging with is the same light that's coming in the top of your head. Feel the love in this place, feel the energy, feel the peace, feel the joy. You're at the center of creation. Your thoughts create your reality. Send thoughts only of love and joy and peace. As the thoughts you send out are the thoughts that come back to you. So send healing to anyone in your life who you would like to send healing. to any nations that you would like to send healing. If there is something you would like to ask for yourself, allow that thought to flow from your heart with love out, and allow that to come back to you. And only allow thoughts of peace and joy and love. This is the most beautiful space to be in. This is the essence of who you truly are. And in a few moments, we're going to start coming back into our physical bodies. So just appreciate these few moments of bliss, of love, of joy. And it's not as if you're leaving this place, you're bringing it back with you. It is in you, it is all around you. So when you are ready, start bringing your awareness and your energy back from the ends of the universe. Start bringing your energies back from through space, from around the Milky Way galaxy and all those other galaxies, back into our solar system with its planets and our sun. Back from the sun, back towards Earth, back from around the moon. Bring your energy and your awareness and your light back from around the Earth. So it's over your country. So it's over the countryside and the towns where you live. Back into the room where you now are. Bring your awareness fully back into your heart. Feel your awareness deep in your heart. Feel it in your whole body. Feel your awareness in your feet. Wiggle your toes. Feel your awareness in your legs, your thighs. Feel your awareness in your head and your arms. Flex your fingers, stretch. Just take a few moments to become fully present in your body. And as you're aware of who you are and where you are, become aware of all the other people on your screen in front of you. See them now not as something separate, people somewhere else. We're all of the one heart now. We have shared something special and something beautiful, and there is no separation between us. Just feel your presence and your awareness in your heart. Everyone is in your heart, and you are in theirs. And even if we pause the music and just be in silence for a moment or two. Feel the aliveness in the silence. Feel the aliveness in your heart, in you. Feel the joy, feel the happiness, the joy of the labyrinth, the joy of who you truly are. This is one of these times when I know why I keep working with the labyrinth. So my heart is beating in my chest because I am at one with each one of you, with you all. We are one. There is no separation except in our minds. And again, this is one of those times when I really can't improve on the silence. So I'm going to let you sit in it for 10 seconds. Yeah, wow. Thank you so much, everybody. That is, this is amazing. It's like, I feel like going, yes. Do you know that feeling? Yes, yes. Just silently or to yourself say yes. Yes to life, yes to love, yes to joy. Woo! Hey. Getting excited now, I better calm down. Okay, we're shortly going to have a few questions and answers. There might be one or two more little slides that I just want to go through, and then we'll rock into the questions. I'll see about sharing my screen again and see what happens, if I'm allowed. Yeah, looking good. That was Melchizedek Labyrinth meditation. Thank you. Yeah. I have recorded a version of that live at one of my workshops as well. It's available on my website if you're interested. It's slightly different, as just as every labyrinth walk is. Every one of these meditations I find is different as well. The healing, more and more, I am becoming aware of the healing power of the labyrinth. You need to allow that energy into you, and when it does, it'll start flowing through you. So, yeah. Maybe that was everything. Maybe that was everything.
So would you like to take some questions now?
I think you're all so dazed, you know. What more is there to ask or to say? And often at these times, when you think of a question, and I often find that with the labyrinth, when you think of a question, almost immediately or shortly afterwards, it's like the answer comes. Or the question maybe no longer becomes relevant, but I think there are still one or two questions out there.
Yes, actually, in the chat earlier, we had a question of what does your divining rod tell you? In other words, how does it work?
Yeah, when I'm using the divining rod in this situation, I just ask it to show me where people need to stop. So if it's individually and I'm working with an individual client, I can interpret that because I can see where they are on the labyrinth, and I know what that point means and what the significance of that point is. In a group, it's slightly different. I can't see, so I'm just picking up intuitively. It tells me, obviously, if it moves very, very rapidly around in circles, and I don't know who could see that or not, it's generally a clearing energy, but sometimes it can also be energizing that particular point where that person is on the labyrinth, so that particular chakra. If they're out of balance and not fully in alignment, that it will realign so that they're all working at the same vibration and are working together. so that there's no discrepancy, you know, like if the throat is out, either people won't be speaking at all, or they'll be over speaking or speaking too much. So the rod, it first and foremost indicates to me that the person needs to stop at that point. Now, people who are used to walking labyrinths will do this automatically, or it'll just come intuitively. Oh, I need to stop here. There's something happening, or I just feel I need to pause here. But with a group, so it indicates to me where people need to stop. And then I would also, the rod will tell me a number of different things, depending on whether it's energizing or whether it's just releasing if there's too much energy in a particular chakra. And also sometimes it'll just stop after moving. It'll stop a little bit to one side, not directly straight. And that's usually just allow the energy that has shifted to settle. So there are different things it's telling me. And again, it's like the labyrinth, I'm still learning, but primarily there's something significant happening for you at that point where the rod moved for you to stop. And it works in the group, even though everybody has probably stopped at a different point. And I can't logically explain some of that. I just know it's the magic of the labyrinth.
Well, in my walking, actually physically feet on the ground, walking a labyrinth, I often stop along the way, as you said, but it had not been something that I had done in a finger labyrinth walk. And so my experience was the first time you said to stop, and then the second, and then a little bit the third. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? There was a real resistance to it. And then just telling myself to breathe, to trust, to just do. And it's probably the most relaxing finger labyrinth walk I have ever had, and probably the most insightful. So thank you for the stops.
Thank you. Thank the labyrinth. Sometimes I just see myself as the man in the middle, you know. So I'm just a messenger, the messenger of oneness. The other thing is, when I'm doing this individually with people, clients who are sitting opposite me, I use usually quite a small labyrinth. It's a resin bronze plated one, and the people, there's a groove in it. And most interestingly, sometimes when people stop and there's a very strong reaction from the rod, they can't lift their finger. It's like they say, my finger is stuck. I can't move it. They're not able to physically go forward or back, and not even able to physically to lift their finger off the labyrinth. So there is a huge healing energy there that it's healing them almost. You're getting this, whether you like, not whether you like it or not, but this is a very powerful healing for you at this point. You know, and a lot of the healing a lot of it is sort of emotional initially first, you know, that's what I find. You know, releasing something in their life, or letting go of something, or empowering them. And many things come up on the whole finger labyrinth walk, and maybe they did for people here. Well, I know they did for people here, and because I can sometimes feel what's happening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing is, this is one way of using the labyrinth. I'm very conscious that there are so many different ways of working with the labyrinth, that this is one way, and it may be for you and it may be not. But I would certainly thank each one of you for trying this. And you can do this on your own without the divining rod. And that's part of what I see this about, that as you move your finger about, it's about becoming aware. Oh, I need to pause here. And then to bring that awareness into your everyday life. So that if you find yourself rushing down the street, or rushing out to the car, or rushing wherever you are, and if you think, oh, I need to pause, I need to slow down. I find myself rushing myself, and then suddenly say, no, slow down, stop, walk slowly, you know. It reminds me of Paulo Coelho's book, The Pilgrimage, where he was, doing the Camino de Santiago with a master. Right. And one of the exercises he had to do was to walk as slowly as he could. That's... I've never tried it in the labyrinth. I'm afraid I might never get out, you know, by going. But I used to do it at work. When I was walking down the corridor, I would walk slowly, and people would be walking with me, and suddenly be 10 yards ahead of me, you know. So you coming? I said, I'm walking at my pace, you know. Yeah.
We have a couple of other questions.
Yeah.
One about the recording, and Tony did say earlier that on his website there is a recording of the meditation he did this evening. And Sherry says, I know the story of the beast in the center of the labyrinth, that is fear, but I don't know the story of the picture with the joy and the lady, the wolf wall, that Ariadne.
Ariadne. Can I elaborate? I can very briefly. Always with Greek mythology, you never know where to start. There never seems to be a start, and there never seems to be an end, you know. So I'll try and the beast. I'll shorten it, and if you want me to elaborate more, just keep asking. The Minotaur is a creature with the body of a human and the head of a bull that ate human flesh, and it was kept in the labyrinth to protect the people of Crete. And Theseus was a prince in Greece, and the Greeks, because they were defeated by the Cretans in war, had to offer 7 young men and 7 young women every 9 years as a sacrifice. And Theseus decided, I think the second or third time this happened, he would go and kill the Minotaur. And as he got off the ship with the other young men and women, Ariadne, who was the daughter of the king of Crete, fell in love with him. And she asked Daedalus, the creator of the labyrinth, what was the secret of the labyrinth, because she didn't want Theseus to be killed. And he said, get him to unravel a ball of string. So, or ball of thread. And Ariadne's thread is often referred to as the way through difficult situations or the mazes. And so when Theseus went into the labyrinth, he unraveled the ball of thread very briefly, and I'll come back to this, killed the Minotaur, found his way back out of the labyrinth again. But Jung would say that the Minotaur represents our shadow side, that side of ourselves that we keep hidden for fear it will devour us. And there is a version, whether it's my version or another version I came across, I have the version of that story where that, you know, some stories say there was a great battle at the center of the labyrinth. I have a sense that once Theseus decided to face the labyrinth, and when he confronted him, the Minotaur, when he confronted the Minotaur, it just lay down and allowed itself to be killed. It's like that when you face your fears, they dissolve. When you decide to face them, they're half gone already. And when you face them, they dissolve. And so Ariadne's thread is the love and the joy that is there for us to sometimes help us through difficult situations. Yeah.
Thank you.
A very short verse.
Yeah, I think that I have heard the story of it being actually a maze that the Minotaur was in, because otherwise he would have found his way out, and that Ariadne's thread, if you superimpose that over the maze, it's the one way in and one way out of the labyrinth. So
yeah, I've heard that too. It's
lots of different ins and outs and twists and turns to that story.
So it could be the one true path through the maze. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Sherry, for asking the question. Does anyone else want to raise your hand or just unmute yourself and ask a question?
Christiana has her hand up. Hi, Christiana. Nice to see you. And
hi. Nice to see you too. I was wondering about your dowsing rods. Do you use the same kind every time and what is the purpose? Because mine do not have that knob at the end. What is
these I got from. I use these because they're quite weighted, and I got them. I don't think they're available anymore. A guy called Fisher Creek Dowsing somewhere in the States was making them, but they're not available anymore on his website. And they're extendable. They're like what do you call it? Do you remember the old radio used to have with an aerial that pulled out? You know, that's what they're like. So I find with this that I mean, I have other sort of straight rods, you know, but for this, I like quite a short rod, and I like a weighted one. So the weight on the end, I I just like the feel of it. And I think with a dowsing rod, you get the one that you like the best. It's kind of individual choice, really. There are many different types. So yeah, but this is the one. There's quite a heavy handle on it as well. I also do a lot of dowsing outside or divining outside, and on a windy day, the heavier the rod is, the less likely it is to be affected by the wind. That's so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say experiment if you're new to it till you find one that you works best with you and for you. Yeah.
Patricia has just put into the chat Tony's website, as well as a Venmo and a PayPal account if you weren't able to contribute and would still like to for this event, then please feel free to do so. Anyone else? Feathered.
I also put in next month's speaker and the monthly walk-in on Monday.
Great.
Okay.
Feather, I know you're on, and thank you for your contribution to, I love the chalice that Tony explained. Did you have any comments or anything you wanted to say? Sorry for putting you on the spot.
I'll thank Tony for, I'm going to be presenting with you all in September, and he just gave a fabulous grounding basis for where I want to go. So we're going to go more into that Holy Grail meditation, etc.
So everybody make sure you come and listen to Feather do his shtick. And when is that?
It's the one in September.
September.
Yeah. And this actually, I'll start this, but this is probably more of a personal conversation between Tony and I, or we'll have to continue with that. But I will say I love the thing that you added to my discovery of the Holy Grail in there was I never thought of the 3-2-1 part being a base or a grounding or whatever for, a base for the chalice and a grounding for the whole. Well, I have thought of it as a grounding for the whole experience, but not associating that with that form of the chalice. And that is really, really interesting because there are two ways that I could have derived that chalice form, turning the 3-2-1 sequence into a chalice, discovering, having that whole insight or channeling that came to me. And that's kind of a longer explanation, but I could have drawn it anyway. It was based on trying to imagine the labyrinth and the pathway three-dimensionally. And I'm going to share more of that in September. So you'll get to see images and stuff because they're worth 1,000 words. But the question, every time I explain that, a question always comes up because I said I had basically this bar graph, and I was picturing, trying to get a way to imagine the length of each pathway or how far you were from the center in that whole sequence, right? And so originally it was a bar graph with the different chakras being different lengths, right? And for some reason, the way it came to me in this altered state was I made the shortest path the longest line. And people always ask, why didn't you make the longest path the longest line? And so I don't know, that's the way I drew it. If I had done it the logical way, it would not have created that little pedestal at the base of the labyrinth. Wow. And so that happened 30 some years ago, 35 years ago, I think. And you're explaining of that or seeing that, as a little base. I'm no way am I going to quote correct right, the sort of illogical way that I drew it. I now have an explanation of why I have a different answer to be able to give people now, thanks to you.
Yeah.
So back right at you.
Yeah,
And it sounds like it's cosmic connection, cosmic connection for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's another one of the metaphors of the labyrinths. We never know why we get the insights that we do out of each labyrinth rock, right? So that's what I would add for now. And yes, I do want to continue that conversation with you privately, Tony.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and there's it's like it's evolving, because I still am getting insights and more insights into the labyrinth. And one I got a number of years ago, I wrote about in the book, is in alchemy, there are actually 7 major turning points, each at the turn into the labyrinth. But the alchemists, medieval alchemists, would also said that work of turning yourself into a golden light being, that there's 2 parts to it, the lesser work and the greater work. And the lesser work they would refer to as the spiritualization of the body. And I see that as the first 3 circuits of the labyrinth, that it's the 3 lower chakras, sometimes you call it your physical chakras. And the second part is the embodiment of the spirit, which is like, once you have spiritualized the body, then you create the top cup part that sits on the base, and you embody the spirit. So it's like, oh, I get goosebumps. Yeah, goosebumps are great when, And only recently, maybe in the last few months, I realized I was just working. I've been getting a lot of other symbols, but one of them was, it was sideways, like a butterfly, but when you turn it, the cup, if you start from the heart, you're actually creating, you're coming down and you're coming back up, you're creating the infinity symbol on an upright basis when you pass through the labyrinth. You're going down the 3 chakras, then you come to the heart, then you go to the top, and then you come back to the heart again. And it's like, whoa, you're at the center of infinity, whether you know it or not,
Yeah, and this is beautiful because you're touching on something I'll probably, it's part of the way I tell the story. And
Okay.
So you kind of giving me make sure I put that into and talk about the way I see that. Yeah.
I better stop. I don't want to ruin your presentation.
Oh, no, that's just like a little, ooh, I hadn't thought about that. Okay, we should probably put that one in. That's cool.
Thanks, you guys. Good ending to our evening. Someone just reminded me in the chat that it's tonymchristie.com.
Oh, yeah.
For the website. And that will get you to him instead of to someone else.
There is a singer called Tony Christie who had a big hit on this side of the world called "Is This the Way to Amarillo?" And,
yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. So
Actually,
put that M in the middle.
Yeah, I worked in food safety and enforcing and inspecting restaurants and places for years, and at one time there was a road show going around Ireland, and there was this big TV presenter hosting it. And when it was my turn to speak, he said, and now we have Tony Christie to talk about food safety and food hygiene. Is this the way to salmonella? He said. There.
Well, if there are no other burning questions, are many thank yous in the chat, Tony. I just so thoroughly enjoyed this, and I know everyone else did as well. Thank you for being up in the middle of the night. It didn't seem like you were up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's not even bright. I thought it would be getting bright outside. It's still dark. But I want to thank everybody, because this would not have been what it was without each and every one of us being here. So thank you, thank yourself, and many, many blessings to you all. Yeah, and it's a privilege and an honor to be doing this work. So thank you.